What's going on, baby? What's going on, Tar Heel Nation? It is your favorite North Carolinian, Russ, the Tar Heel. And let me tell you something, man. I have been going through all kinds of technical difficulties trying to get this thing through. Started at 8 o'clock, man. I apologize for the tardiness. I had a whole different layout setup and everything, and I am extremely disappointed that I was unable to get that thing facilitated because tonight is going to be a pretty special night, man. I'm hoping that everything works out smoothly. This will be kind of a first for the channel, and I am unbelievably excited about it. But like I said, I got mixed emotions because I literally just got finished for the last 2.5, 3 hours working on something that did not come to fruition. So very disappointed in that sense. But like I said, man, tonight is going to be a stinking good night. Let me get some things squared away real quick. Let me make sure. Do me a favor, man. What's up, Robert? Hey, can you guys hear me okay? I'm not going to touch the mic this time, I promise. What's up, Preston? What's up, brother? Can you guys hear me all right? Give me a thumbs up or something if you guys can hear me, if the audio is good. I am still trying to work on Google Voice. I'm trying to be able to make it to where, awesome, dude. I appreciate you, Robert. Thanks, man. Trying to make it to where we can get the calls, you know, that come straight through the computer, you know, for lack of better terms. Some of you thinking nerds out there will you'll be able to correct that for me, but I had everything set up, dude. I had a sick layout. I was going to use Streamlabs, get the Streamlabs, and it comes to doing the tests and everything, and I'm getting no volume through my other streaming software, if you will, dude. So I last second, man, got to switch over here to StreamYard, and that's why we're kind of back to your regularly scheduled programming, if you will. And we're also going to have to do the same thing that we did in the last call-in show, which is use Google Voice through my stinking cell phone. But super exciting news. If you guys haven't heard, and this just happened like last second, I was telling the guys, I was telling the hooligans on Discord, man, that, you know, Connor Harrell's dad reached out to me, you know, to a certain extent. He liked one of my posts on Instagram. So I reached out to him and asked him if he would, you know, be interested in coming on the show tonight and talking about, what's up, Nick? What's up, brother? Talking about, you know, Connor and kind of his journey to QB1 for the University of North Carolina. And I kind of did it, you know, not thinking that, you know, he would want to talk to little old me. And he was gracious enough to respond very quickly, and he said he didn't mind. So I'm hoping to get Mr. Harrell, you know, on the line today, maybe ask him some questions. If you have any questions for Mr. Harrell, you know, pertaining obviously to Connor, by all means, man, put them in the chat so that we can see what Carolina, you know, what Tar Heel Nation wants to hear. Now, this is the first time that I've ever done anything like this. So I'm sure that me and him are going to be a little, you know, nervous. So I want you to forgive me because I am in no way, shape, or form a journalist of any type. Just an avid college football fan. And I obviously happen to be pulling real hard for Connor Harrell. So I'm really excited about that, man. I don't know how we're gonna orchestrate this. I told him that when I open up the phone lines, do me a favor, you guys hold your calls for a little bit because I really want to get Mr. Harrell in here because he's gracious enough to give us some of his time. So I want to get him in here first. He's going to take precedence. So yeah, why is Connor so well dressed? Yeah, I think it has something to do with Dad. But you know how it goes, man. I want to thank everybody who's in here. We got 12 in here right now. Preston, Robert, Agent 704, Nick. We got a Wolfpacker in here. Dennis. It's good to see you guys, man. If you're in here right now, do me a favor, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed to the channel, you need to be. and you need to share this content to all your Carolina Tar Heel friends. Let them know that the Heels are represented well at the Tar Heel Huddle, man. So I appreciate you guys stopping by. Usually we do this on a Friday night, but work has happened, and a man still got to make a living at this point. So that's why we're doing it Thursday. So it's the night before, but it's actually the 2 nights before, if you will. What's up, Alan? How's it going, bro? So let me go ahead and put down in the chat the phone number that we're going to call into. Give me a second. I got to remember this stinking number. That's how jacked up today has been, man. That is absolutely how jacked up today has been. And it's not because I haven't tried. I mean, I have done my stinking due diligence, man, trying to get this thing perfect. And what do you know? It's perfection has eluded me. But we're going to stinking push through this, man, in true Tar Heel fashion. And we're going to get it done anyway. Just let me get this phone number in here because I got to get that out there for you guys. So that's the number to call. I'll let everybody know to go down to the Tar Heel Huddle when it's time to open up the phone lines, man. But I want to talk about the game real quick. Just a couple of quick notes, man. So here's what we know. Opening statements. Carolina, Charlotte. All right, Saturday's temperature. I like the look of the weather, man. Saturday's temperature right now, it's going to be overcast, a high of 80 and a low of 56. Originally, it was like a 75% chance of rain. It looks like it's dwindled down to about 25%. Hopefully, that'll be, maybe towards the front end of kickoff, and then we'll get good weather, towards the latter stages of the game. As long as the rain stays away, it should be a fairly comfortable day in Chapel Hill. Now, Carolina, obviously, and Charlotte have never met on the gridiron, right? So this will be the first time that they've ever played as far as the programs are concerned, because that 2020 date was canceled during the COVID year. And, so that's very interesting. You got, a newer program out there in Charlotte coming to Chapel Hill, and then we actually return the favor by going to Charlotte next year, which I kind of have mixed emotions about. That place only seats like 15,500. And I don't think necessarily that Carolina should be playing in front of 15,000 people, but I digress on it. Well, I guess when we go down to Hard Rock and play the Hurricanes, we also play in front of 15,000 people. So it won't be nothing stinking new. But, so that's kind of the series ordeal with Carolina and Charlotte. And Carolina currently right now is a 22.5-point favorite at the time of this, or at least the last time I checked, which was earlier today. Now, recruiting news, guys that are coming to the game, it's been, basically set in stone. Carolina's got 3 4-stars that are slotted to attend the game, including obviously the crown jewels of the class, 4-star offensive lineman Alex Payne out of Gainesville High in Georgia, and additionally quarterback Bryce Baker out of East Forsyth, in North Carolina. So they'll be at the game. They'll be taking in Carolina's home opener, and then there will additionally be 26 other recruits that are at the game to take in the beauty, which is Chapel Hill, North Carolina, Keenan Football Stadium. So I'm really interested also, man, with everything that's going on, with some of the lackluster, fan excitement. I've seen a lot of social media where people are saying, well, we're not really excited right now, because of the schedule, or we're really not excited right now because of X or Y or Z. So I'm interested to see what North Carolina, Tar Heel Nation, I wonder how they respond to Kenan Stadium, even though it's an opening day against an opponent that, let's all be frank, man, we should definitely beat, and we should beat convincingly. But you kind of know how these things go, unfortunately, when you're Tar Heel Nation. But I would hope that we would pack that thing out, and that we would show, obviously, Connor, who's going to need all the support that we can give him, and all the love that we can give him. He's going to need, a good house, man. So I really hope that we pack that thing out and we show out for my stinking dude. So it's always just a great thing when Kenan Stadium is packed, man. And it deserves to be packed. Carolina's 1-0, and they got a chance to go 2-0, man. So there's no reason. If you're around the area, bro, and you have the means to, by all means, get the Kenan Stadium. Be loud, be proud, and support the boys, man. Support the boys. So, like I said, the lack of interest. And let me just say this too. I'm going to go off on a little rant real quick, pertaining to that. When I see guys that, they'll talk about how, they're Tar Heels or you're a Carolina football fan, but this year you're not excited. There's not a year that I'm not excited for Carolina football. I don't care if it's 2010 when they're saying, hey, we're dark horse national champions, to compete for a national title, and then everybody gets suspended because of, X, Y, and Z, or you got Drake May and Sam Howell under center. I don't care, man. Every year, we get 12 of these, man, and maybe a bowl game. We get 12 of these. And when I see North Carolina fans talk about how they're not excited, bro, it blows my mind. Shame on you, man. Shame on you. Shame on you. And I say that, man, with my chest out, and I don't care who I push away. If you're one of those guys, man, you need to look in the stinking mirror and check yourself, bro. Are you a Tar Heel or not, man? Win, lose, or draw, bro. People say I'm a Tar Heel born and I'm a Tar Heel bred, and when I die, I'll be a Tar Heel dead. And then they say, well, I'm not really excited about this year because, of whatever factor you've conjured up in your mind. Dude, stop it. All right? Either you bleed Carolina blue or you don't, man. So, let's think and get out there and support the boys, man. And don't be that stinking guy. Excuse all the stinkins. I'm working on it. We need some dogs, bro. We need some Rams. That's what it would be. We're North Carolina. We need some Rams, Rams. We don't need the sheep, and the little billy goats. You guys can hang out outside, man. This is the Rams club only, dude. So if you're a billy goat, get out there, man. We don't need you. We don't need you. Anyway, so that's my little spiel. That's my little stinking spiel, man. Now, Charlotte enters the contest 0-1. They dropped their home opener 30-7 against the Dukes of James Madison, and they were outscored 21-0 after the half. And Max Brown was turnover prone in the game, man. He had a unforced fumble where the ball just slipped out of his hand, and he also threw 2 first-half interceptions, man. So that's 3 turnovers right there in and of itself. Now, Max Brown is a little bit green, Max Brown is a little bit green, but Teron Kelman's got some wheels, dude. So Carolina's going to have to be really good in their run fits to take care of Teron because he can scoot, man. He can scoot. He came real close to breaking one against JMU that would have got them back in the football game, and it took a unbelievably, heroic play, if you will, shoestring tackle to save it, and they ended up not being able to score on that drive. So, it'll be interesting to see what Teron does against that front seven for Carolina. They did lose another offensive lineman, according to Biff Poggi. I don't know if it's Poggi. I've heard it pronounced both ways, but he did say that they lost another offensive lineman. And you know what? We're just going to go ahead and get it, man. We're going to go ahead and get it right now. I got Connor Harrell's dad on the phone. So let me see. Let's make this happen. Let's see what we got. Hello?
Good evening.
Hey, Mr. Harrell. How are you doing, sir? Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you okay, man. Hey, Tar Heel Nation, do me a favor. If you can hear, let me know down in the comment section that you can hear Mr. Harrell. And I apologize, sir, for the, I had this thing all set up, and it was supposed to go swimmingly, and we're kind of just piecing this thing together. But I really, really, really appreciate your time, Mr. Harrell. I do.
No worries. I'm glad you asked.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I had all the questions that were, they're in my phone still because I was trying to get all this taken care of. And I'm embarrassed to say that they are still on my phone. So what I would like to do is, first and foremost, just let you introduce yourself, let Tar Heel Nation know who you are, who your son is, and any opening statements that you may have, sir.
Yeah, so my name is Marvin Harold, and and my son is Connor Harrell, number 15 quarterback. And I'm just glad Russ, reached out to me, and I feel like he wanted to hear, let us talk and find out a little bit more about Connor. And so I'm glad to help out. So here we are.
And I really appreciate you, sir. I'll be honest with you. I was coming home from work, and right. It was a couple of hours after you had liked my post, for the call-in show. And I'm sitting there, I'm driving home from work, and I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to reach out to Mr. Harrell, and I'm sure that he's either not going to respond to me, or he's going to say, hey man, I appreciate it, but I'd rather not. So when you responded, sir, and you said that you were interested, I mean, it's an honor to speak to you. It really is. It really is. And I very much appreciate your time.
Yeah, no. And it sounds like, you tell me, I mean, if we need to do this another day to where you can gather your things and everything, I'm fine with that. So, but
okay,
if you're ready to go now, we can. However you want to do it, I'm here for you.
I appreciate you, sir. And so how about this? Because I've already told the people that the man himself is going to be in here. So, we'll kind of spitball it. We'll spitball it real quick, Mr. Harrell. And, I'd love to have you on, in a couple of weeks or something like that, whenever you get some time.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. So, yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let me ask you this. And these are just questions off the top of my head, when Connor was growing up, when did you notice that there was something special about your son, that he was going to be the type of athlete that would be able to play Division I football?
Well, so Connor is the youngest of three. He has two older brothers, and his middle, the one he's right underneath, Kyle, is about 5 years older than he is.
Okay.
So as we had our first child, Tyler, we play out in the front yard, play sports, this baseball, all that kind of stuff throughout the season, depending on what the season was, and we me and the boys would just play around, and next thing you know, Tyler, my oldest one, is playing baseball at an early age, playing football and this, that, and the other, and he's the guy. He's the guy.
Yeah.
And so, and then Kyle, the middle one, follows along, and and again, I'm trying to teach him how to catch, how to throw, and all that kind of stuff with his football, baseball, track, and then he starts playing football and baseball and basketball and all those sports, and he's the guy.
Yeah.
And so, 5 years later, it's Connor's turn, and everything that I had to teach them, it was just innate.
Right.
And he knew how to catch. He knew how to, he was just so far ahead of where his other brothers were.
Right.
It was so funny, and so all our boys are very athletic. They did. All of them all of them played baseball, basketball, and did travel track. And they were the guys for baseball. There was a pitcher, shortstop, the 1-4 batter.
Right.
Basketball, the point guard.
Yes, sir.
Running back, track, all that. So and so as they got older, he just did what came natural to him.
Right.
And it was just win, and whether it was football, he just kept winning.
I like that.
And so about, yeah. And so he was winning at the biggest program in Alabama. And at the time, the youth program was always good. The high school that he was going to eventually be at wasn't that good, and hadn't been a long time since they had ever done anything.
Yes, sir.
But as he got older, the city decided to invest in the football and in the school, and now here comes Connor and at ninth grade, and at that point, he loved baseball and he loved football and wasn't really sure about, kind of direction. He really wasn't sure if he wanted to give up football for baseball or the vice versa.
Right.
At 7A, a lot of schools just, they want you to focus on one sport at 7A when you get to the high school level.
Yes, sir.
So we had Connor in a national training camp that would worked on his arm, and that year they called Connor up to start training with the varsity. And Tua Tagovailoa's dad was the guy who was doing the training.
Okay.
And I remember distinctly, talking to, before this happened, talking to Connor and said, listen, son, you're going to be going in the varsity and we're going to have to start working even harder than what we've been doing. And he was okay, whatever. And so now we get to, they call him up, and now Nilu, to his dad, is working with them.
Mm-hmm.
And so we leave the national program that we were at and started training with him. And they kind of hinted to, hey, listen, we need you to focus. If you're going to be football, you're going to be football.
Right.
And so the decision was made for him, basically, right?
Was he a better football or a baseball player?
Well, it was between football, baseball, and basketball. I mean, he was the guy, and the basketball coach was willing, to let him play both sports, but
right.
Football ruled.
Right. Yeah.
And really for me, it was, track. Bobby Humphrey and his wife. Bobby Humphrey played for Alabama and played professional football. His son now plays for the Baltimore Ravens, Marvin Humphrey. They formed a travel track team, and Connor and the middle son was on that. And I remember Kyle had made it to the Junior Olympics 3 times, and his event was the 1-2 and the long jump, and he was like 8th in the nation in the 1 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here comes Connor, and his practice wasn't as he didn't work as hard as Kyle did.
Mm-hmm.
at the track. And it was funny because his first meet, Bobby Humphrey came up to me and said, Marvin, I just want to let you know, Connor's probably not going to be like Kyle, as good as Kyle.
Right.
But it turned out he ended up being just as good, as not better. And if you can imagine, at night, he was 9 years old. I think it was 8 or 9 years old. I can't remember exactly. In the 100, he ran a 13:02.
That's insane.
Which is good, but he ended up like he was like 40th in the nation or something like that with
right.
a 13:02.
Right.
But it was still phenomenal.
Yeah.
And so he did that for 3 years. He did track and travel baseball for 3 years. And I just told him, son, you've got to give up one of these sports because it's too much.
Mm-hmm.
And so he went with baseball, and that was his love. I wanted him to stay with track.
Yeah.
But so I mean, really, he was really, again, as a pitcher and again, one quarterback, he was really, really good. And so, but fortunately, it was made for him. And when Nilu got a hold of him, Connor was always going to be good. I knew that, but Nilu brought him to a different level.
Okay.
And I remember about a month into the training with Nilu, I asked Connor, Connor, how do you compare your training now versus when you were with this national company? He said, Dad, I've learned so much more. And let me tell you, Nilu he was very instrumental in just getting him down, getting, just the small things and just making him even better at what he was good at what he was doing, but he just made him better, right?
Right. Yes, sir.
So he loved the sport.
Yeah. Yeah. Who was Connor's team growing up? Did he watch a lot of college football? Did he I know you guys are from
Yeah,
Alabama,
so
so
yeah, and so we did, and because you live here, and being that me nor his mom went to a major university, so you do like everybody else does. You know, if you're living in Alabama, you have to pick a team.
right. Yes, sir.
And so his team was Alabama.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes, sir.
his team was Alabama.
Yeah.
And so and so we watched it because that was a thing to do. And so when it came to the teams really outside the SEC, unless you were playing them, you know, it didn't really resonate with them and the other team.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Alabama was his team growing up.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Which I can imagine. They went through a decade of absolute dominance. So, and Alabama's beautiful. I actually I was in Huntsville for a little bit while I was in the Army for training. And yeah, so Northern Alabama is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And you know, so that's really cool. That's really cool, Mr. Marvin. What ultimately, and this is a question from Preston from Greensboro, big Carolina fan. He's at all the home games, and he's obviously a huge supporter of your son. What ultimately brought Connor to North Carolina over some of the other schools that were courting him for his talents?
Yeah, so that's interesting you ask, because so North Carolina was never, at least that I've ever heard, really was never on his radar, right?
Yes, sir.
And so golly. And so he had 37 offers, and so his time of playing and recruitment was really at a bad time because it was 2021.
Right.
And so coaches couldn't come see him. And so he couldn't go to school, couldn't go in. It was just different. So Duke had offered him, and so we decided, well, they can't come to us. Why don't we at least go on our own and just go look at the school?
Yes, sir.
So we drove out there, looked at it, and this, that, and the other, and he said, Dad, while we're here, University of North Carolina is not far from here. Can we go see that school?
Yeah, yeah.
Said, why not? And so we go over there and look at it and stuff. And at this time, they hadn't offered. They weren't even on the radar, other than him wanting to go see the school. So we go over there and look at it, and he was just, he was just in awe. Loved the facilities, the area, just was just in awe.
Yes, sir.
And so, funny enough, UNC came in late. They came in May, going into his senior year. And I remember it distinctively. It was the third week in May. Connor had already picked out. They gave June was the only time that we could go visit, do a visit. And he only had 4 visits at that time, and so he had his 4 schools picked out. And so that was, again, the Saturday, third week of June of May. He gets a phone call, and it's Coach Longo.
Okay.
And they made an offer to him, and it was contingent on seeing him throw because the season before he had broken his collarbone.
Wow.
And they said, we like everything about you. We want to offer you a scholarship, but we do want you to come in. Let us see what you can do, and if we like you, the scholarship is yours. And so he hangs up, comes finds me, and said, "Dad, guess what? UNC just offered me." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." And for him, at that time, he was done.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter who else called, and for him, he was all locked in. And so now it was a matter of, he had 4 schools already picked out. We already had talked to other schools and had it all planned out. So now who he's going to drop? So he ends up dropping one school at the end of the month, and he still had Michigan on his on his radar. But he really didn't. He didn't want Michigan. Wasn't interested. They didn't really resonate with them. And it was funny because UNC offered that Saturday, and about 5 minutes later, Michigan calls and offers.
Yes, sir.
But he was locked. He was done. It was UNC.
Right,
and
right.
That's big blue. You know, we need to go see it. And he was like, Dad, no. And so the last week in June, something had happened where we didn't know if we were going to be able to go see North Carolina. So we found out on that Friday that we could go. And so it was too late to catch the plane. So we had to drive up there. And we go up there and do everything we did. And of course they said, Connor, we love you. The scholarship is yours. And so if that's what you want. And so he was going to make a commitment, but he was going to give it a couple of weeks. And so after we left North Carolina, after we left the school, we went out at 8, and I remember I said, Connor, listen, Jim is waiting for you. You know, he wants to see you. And he was like, no. But mom said, hey, listen, why don't we just go?
Yeah.
So we end up driving to Michigan. We left about 6 o'clock that night, all the way to Michigan. But, you know, that's what you do for your kids, right?
Yeah, yes,
so
sir.
We drive up there, right? And so we drive up there, and we get there sometime Sunday, and Jim and Michigan was the same thing. You know, contingent on seeing them do his stuff. And so it was me, Connor, his middle brother, who was playing at UAB. He was at UAB at the time. And so we go up there, and Connor does all this stuff, and Jim is really thrilled about him, and he says, Connor, the scholarship is yours, and if you take the scholarship, we'll not only give it to you, but we'll give your brother a scholarship.
Oh wow!
And you know, right? And for the parents, you know, I mean, hey, both kids at one place, man.
Yeah.
And it's Michigan, you know, why not?
Yeah, I hear you. Yes, sir.
And so, you know, for me, I'm ready to sign, and kind of like, Dad, let's go home and talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's go home and talk about it. And I said, talk about what? And he said, Dad, let's go home. And so we get home and we talk about it. We go through it, and actually before we leave, Jim knows he's going to make a decision before the season starts. The senior year is before it starts, and he asked him. He said, listen, if you'll wait and before you make a decision until the season starts, and we actually just come to one of our games. Just come to one of the games, and then you make your decision. And so Con just heard him, but so we get home and we talk about it, discussing everything, and I was the last holdout.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And it was about 2 days later. You know, he talked to his mom and said, Mom, I really need Dad to be in on this, you know. And so, you know, so I said, okay, so this is what you want, and this is your life. I'm here for you. I'm going to support you. And if North Carolina is where you want to be, then I'm there. I'm there with you.
Yes, sir.
So we go up a weekend, and we talk to the coach. There's a bunch of the kids there, and promptly we tell the coach, hey, or one of the coaches that we want to go ahead and make the announcement today, and so he makes his announcement, and you know he's been a Tar Heel ever since.
Yeah,
and hadn't looked back.
That's such a great story, man. And honestly, you know, as a father, you know, my son's much younger than your son, obviously, but and I don't know that he'll ever play college football, but just that's such an amazing story, just, you know, and it's one of those things that we kind of overlook as fans, is that relationship between student athlete and school and the multiple schools that they're visiting, and even the decision process, you know, with, you know, mom and dad, and, you know, his brother is involved, where his brother might go to Michigan with him. That's it's fascinating. It really is fascinating. Yeah.
And I feel like it was God sent, because there's so many different things that happen. Like even with Alabama, I mean, again, unfortunately, they couldn't come to the school and say, "Hey, Connor, this offer's yours." And so what would happen is, most coaches would call and talk, but for some reason or another, Alabama, what they did, they sent mailers to Connor, and wanted to do a Zoom call.
Right.
And so, but Connor. So what happened was he came home. I remember. So he came home and said, "Dad, look what I got. I got 3 invites from Alabama to do a Zoom call, and it was in a clear plastic envelope, and you could see the invite, who was for it, all that kind of stuff." I said, "Wow, that's great." And so this is November of his junior year when this was given to him.
Okay.
And so I said, "Wow, that's great." He said, "Yeah, Dad. But look at the date." And I looked at the date, and every date had passed on all 3 mailers, and the mail, and there were 3 different dates. There's a date on each mailer, and all of them were different, and all of those dates had passed. So he had missed that opportunity, and I was like, man. So so I and this is kind of future. So I called the coach up and said, his high school coach, and said, "Hey, coach, what's going on? This Miller's here. It's late. He didn't get them, and so why?" And of course, he gave some coach speak and said, we're going to go into the playoffs, championship, and we need him to focus on this. If he wants to talk to any coaches, I can make it happen. And so, what else I'm going to say? Okay, so I said, fine, that's fine. So, late November, Connor comes home again, and there's another mail. He comes home to Dad. Look what I got. So another mailer from University of Alabama, and it's another Zoom invite, and the date again had passed. And I'm like, good God, I can't believe this. And so, what do you do? I mean, it's done and done. I didn't know how to connect whatever. And so, funny thing is, we go to about March, and Connor and I are in the car driving, and he's on the phone with the coach, and he hangs up, and I said, "Connor, you got all these coaches calling you and this, that, and the other. Do you check your voicemail at all?" He said, "No, not really." I said, "Son, you got to start checking your voicemail. You never know who's going to call."
Yeah.
Well, he checks his voicemail. He's going through his voicemail now, and he's looking, going all the way back to, I think it was like, I can't remember how long, December or something like that. But there was a voice message there, and it was from the University of Alabama, and it was I think it was Bill O'Brien, and it said, "Hey, Connor, this is Coach Bryant. We had sent you several mailers, and we hadn't responded. We hadn't heard anything from you. We'd love to talk with you. Give us a call if we can help. If we can help with anything." And so, so that was months early. So that was missed out. And so, and by the time he read this, they had already made their offer to the guy, right?
Right.
So between UNC. Between that happening from Alabama, missed out on that, UNC calling when they did before Michigan, and again when Longo called him and he was locked in, I have to say it was God sent. He was meant to be here.
Yes, sir.
And so. There's no, what am I going to say? But let's go. Right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Let's do that.
Yeah. That's awesome. That is awesome. You've heard, I'm sure you've heard some of the Carolina jokes, but you knew, as even growing up as an Alabama fan or living in Alabama, that God is a Tar Heel, right? You know that, right? I mean, there's no other reason. Why else is the sky Carolina blue? I mean, he's clearly a Tar Heel. So.
So I get it. And so you just had to. Hey, listen, we lived in Alabama. It was easy.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
But you learn. Hey, we're Tar Heel fans. Through and through. So yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
It was God.
I hear you. I hear you, Mr. Harrell. So let me ask you this, sir. When last year, obviously Drake May declares for the NFL draft. He forgoes the bowl game, and Connor is announced as QB1 for that bowl game. Can you kind of talk about maybe his thought process and maybe how exciting that was? Do you think, if you can answer this, do you think that he was ready for that moment? How about and then also like we had talked about a little off of air, through Instagram, is when, after the bowl game, we're not after the bowl game because it was announced that Max Johnson was going to be transferring to North Carolina, but what that mentality was for him, believing that he was obviously going to be next in line after Drake left, and then to have that quarterback battle with Max Johnson, maybe his headspace, kind of what was going on in that whole, did he ever think about transferring or entering the portal or anything like that? Just what was that whole situation like, Mr. Harrell?
Yeah. So Connor, he, just like, he was headstrong about choosing North Carolina, not Michigan, but North Carolina. I mean, he's a smart kid, and got a really great head on his shoulders. And so, no, he was, you could tell he was thrilled about, being the next guy up at UNC, and Connor, he's played at it's high school, but their championship was played at Bryant-Denny Stadium, right?
Right.
And there were 40,000 people there, so maybe more than that, but so he has played behind people like Talia, the Humphrey kid, brothers who were very talented, and so Connor has always been around greatness, and he knows what that is.
Yes, sir.
And so for the bowl game, I think he was fine, but it did kind of affect him when he knew that, hey, listen, he's not going to compete for this position. And it's not about competing, because it's college.
Right.
No matter who, even if you are named a QB1, you're the guy. Every year you're going to have to compete.
Right.
Hey, listen, that's fine. I say, for me, listen, bring 10 of the top best quarterbacks in the nation. Bring them in here, and let's make let's go 10 deep, and as long as the best QB wins, hey,
right.
And if you don't win, that's on you, right?
Yes, sir.
So and so for him, so a lot of my clients and friends would ask me, how's Connor doing, and this, that, and the other with this battle and all that kind of stuff going on. I said, listen, Connor's fine. It's his dad you got to worry about. So as a dad, I want Connor to be focused and this, that, and the other, and so that, he's got to compete with Max, and then he competes with Max, and then now there's Jacoby comes back, and now he's got to compete with Jacoby, and so
and not to cut you off, Mr. Harold, but just introducing that, that I remember when Jacoby decided to come back, it almost there was just a ton of talk, like, people were wondering, like, why did he decide to come back to North Carolina? Is it because Carolina doesn't have a quarterback? I mean, that's from a fan's perspective. Those were some of the things that we were wondering. Is man, Jacoby's coming back, and Max Johnson transferred in, and we saw these splashes from Connor in the first half before he got injured, and it just there was all these question marks of what does this mean. And so, continue. I apologize, sir.
No, yeah. So and that's where Connor was, right? And so for us as parents, seeing this, you know, we're thinking the same thing, because here you got a kid who chose to be here, has done everything you've asked him to, has done really good things in the community. Community likes him. You know, he made the ACC 23-24 honor rolls. So he's good in school, and has played very well on the field.
Yeah.
And so, you know, for us being so far away, you know, all I could think of is, you know, how's Connor doing? You know, what's his mindset? And so going into the summer, you know, what I did was think about the things I just told you. You know, he's in the business school. He's you know, he's worked on his body. He's got his body up. He's running 4.5, 4.4.
Love that.
And he's playing good on the field.
Yeah.
So in my mind, you know, his I mean, if he's doing all that, outside noise can't be affecting him.
Right.
Right. Because USC is not an easy school.
Right.
And college football is not. I don't care what school you're at, is not easy. You got to be at your best every single day.
Right.
So I had to rest on that to feel like he was that made me think that he was dealing with this at a level that most kids at his age probably couldn't deal with it.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
So that went on to the fall, and I think the toughest time for me as a parent in all this was, you know, when they made the announcement, when they told Connor that it was 2 days before the spring game. I mean, before the fall scrimmage, and they told him that they're going in the other direction with Max.
Mm-hmm.
And we hadn't planned on coming to the scrimmage game. But when Connor told us that, you know, we said, well, I wanted to see, you know, Connor's performance, and I wanted to see where his mind was. And so when I get out there, and this is tough. So when we get there and we watch from the first throw to the end to his last throw, you could tell that it finally hit him.
Right.
I mean, he looked dejected. His throws were just. I mean, he was just doing things that just wasn't Connor. You know, it just was something else. And I'm in the stands videotaping this, and I'm just upset at his performance and this, that, and the other. And so after the game, you know, we go down and talk to Connor, and I said, Connor, son, listen, you know, this is a competition. You know, this may be the last day, but it's still a competition. You can't have things. You can't be performing like this. And so his next words just hit me hard, because all I could think of was his performance, and not really think about the things that he had gone through up to this point, thinking that, you know, if I do everything that I'm supposed to do at the best level, then you know, I'm going to get what I've earned, what I've worked for. Right.
Yes, sir.
And then I told him that it wasn't happening. You could see it on the field. So I said, Connor, you can't let this happen. You got to be on top of your game. You can't let this go on. And he looked at me and he said, Dad, I know, but it's hard. And when he said that, my whole demeanor just changed.
Yeah.
And me and Mom just kind of just worked on him and just prayed for him and prayed with him, and we're always sending him text messages with prayers and just, you know, trying to make sure that he's giving God the glory, and then letting him know that God's got you. You just gotta,
yes, sir.
You just gotta do as God would want you to do, and it's all gonna, you know, whatever God's plan is, it's gonna come.
Yeah.
And
yes,
so,
sir.
But that probably was the toughest thing of all this, you know.
Right. That's amazing. It really is amazing, you know. And like I said, you know, coming from a fan's perspective, we're on the outside looking in, and we don't see all those intricate parts of student athlete, school, family, and And, even as I think maybe you had commented on something that I had posted, maybe a couple of months ago, because I was trying to hash out myself, like who should Carolina go with, and there was pros and cons to both sides, and I figured that
Right.
Coach Mac Brown would have a plan in place, and you don't really necessarily take into consideration those things, and all everybody has ever heard is just what an outstanding young man Connor is, and I can tell just from speaking to his father that that's the case. There's no doubt in my mind that's where he gets it from. Mr. Harrell is his dad and his mom, but so it's just
Listen.
yes, sir.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's just fascinating. This has taken a different turn, than what I initially anticipated. But I just keep thinking about it, and some of these some people may that aren't fathers, they may. I'm not even thinking about it from a football perspective right now. I'm listening to a father and a son, and I'm correlating that to my own life, and it's just it really is fascinating. It's just a fascinating concept, and
Well, and the thing is, and that's why I didn't mind speaking, because and so there's no way that anybody would know unless they're on the inside,
yeah,
and so there is another perspective, right?
yeah,
And so I didn't mind sharing it, and Connor is, he's even even after that scrimmage game, Connor just took to his role as a backup and was going to do what he had to do to support this team, and that never changed.
that's so impressive.
Funny, you asked about the portal, and so as a parent, right? And what I tell my boys, listen, I don't care what generation you're from, this, that, and the other. We all want the same thing. We want to have a good life. We want to have good marriage. We want to have a good family, great job.
Yeah.
And, and that doesn't change from generation to generation. And I tell them, I said, listen, at 20 years old, all you know is as a 20-year-old up to that point, I've been in this world for 56 years, and I've got, you're a smart kid. All three of my boys, smart kids, and y'all know a lot more about school and the X's and O's in football than I do, and I give you that. But I've got life experiences.
Yes, sir.
I work with people who are super successful, and they tell me their stories and how they became who they became, and so I listen and I take their stories and I impart those stories onto my boys and let them know that all of that I'm telling you is not just from me; it's from people who've done things greater and far more than what I have.
Right.
And so just hear me and trust me, and let's as a family, let's come together when we try and do something, because if we do something together and we agree upon it and it doesn't work out, hey, we got each other because we're one.
Yes, sir.
We're one in this.
Yes, sir.
And so that's Connor. He's an old school. When it came to the portal, when Matt came in, I was kind of suspect because I could see that's where they kind of wanted to go, and I conversated with him about it, and he was like, "Dad, no, he just shut me down, no." And so we left it, and then Jacoby came, and the portal was open at this time, and I said, listen, this again, this is another sign. He's like, Dad, I'm just gonna put my bootstraps on, and I'm gonna work, and I'm gonna earn this position. I'm gonna do this. And so I love that about him.
Right.
And but at 20 years old, what I know is life. It's
Yeah.
not always fair. And that's just
Right.
life.
Right. 100%,
And
sir.
so I'm just trying to protect them from that. But maybe, God, had a different plan, and maybe you got to go through some things and show God, hey, listen, I'm trusting you.
Yeah.
And so he just leaving UNC was never was never an option, was never on the table for him. He's going to do what he has to do, and if he won the position, that's great. And if he didn't, he was going to be the great support group for the guy that's in front of him. And whenever he got an opportunity to play on the field, he was going to do what he could,
Yeah.
And that's Connor, and that's all my boys.
And that's so amazing. And as a diehard North Carolina Tar Heel fan, and somebody who, just some of the things in my experiences in life and everything where I put loyalty as a premium, when you have a young man like that, who decides to stick it through and doesn't quit, even when things don't go his way, even when maybe, potentially he's been even wronged, to a certain extent. And for him to stick it out and like you said, maybe God's got a different plan, and we're all praying for Max Johnson and his recovery and everything. It's a terrible injury. But I do believe that all things, work together for the glory of God. I don't mean to make this a religious thing or anything like that, but now Connor Harrell is without a shadow of a doubt, he is QB1. So what is his mindset? Like, where's his headspace at right now? Like, knowing, like, hey, I am the guy. Like so much of this season is going to be predicated on, what I'm able to do, me showing my talent and what I can do on the football field. Where's he at right now, Dad?
Well, so it's funny. Connor has always been, just kind of a level-headed kid, right? Nothing really just bothers him, this, that, and the other. He's just very level-headed, knows what he has to do, knows what he likes, this, that, and the other, and it doesn't matter what's going on. That's how he's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and so like bowl game, he had a press conference and he did it, and he did a couple of them and did very well. And I'm always coaching him because I'm dad, I saw some things that I didn't like, and if I'm going to tell him, hey, listen, you got to do this, this, and the other. And so it was funny. So a couple of days ago, apparently he did another press conference,
right?
About him being QB1 and coming forward. And watching that, I could tell that he was really nervous.
Right.
Not uncanny, nothing like I've seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And so internally, and Connor he just doesn't, outside of him telling me when he said, Dad, I know it's hard. Outside of that, he just doesn't let you know.
Right.
And when I saw him kind of doing that press conference, going back, and you could tell he was really nervous. And all of I told him, I said, listen, I said, some of the greatest people are when it's time for them to step up for a presentation, for whatever it is, they go through that. And it's okay to be nervous. It's
right.
Okay, right? You're in good company, I promise you. And so, we all need that every now and then.
Yeah.
Whether we believe it or not, we all need that, and for me, again, I know how good Connor is, and he's always been great in everything he's done.
Yes, sir.
And now you're at college, and I understand college it's different. There's everybody's fast, everybody's talented.
Right.
And for me, what I've always tried to preach to Connor, I said, Connor, one thing that you have that you can't teach is speed. And for me, I said, there's a lot of quarterbacks out there that can throw very well.
Mm-hmm.
But there's not a lot of quarterbacks that can run a 4.5, 4.4.
Right.
And he ran a 4.5 at the Alabama camp going into his senior year. And so I said, son, if you would, now at your UNC, talk to the coach, say, hey, listen, we're working on my throws. We're already doing reads, how to read defense and all that kind of stuff. I'd love to go with the track team and work on my speed.
Right.
And and to a point where you're a solid 4-3 guy. Now you're separating yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got your vertical is 42. Man, you threw the ball when you were at Michigan 75 yards. Man. And now you can run a 4-3 or 4-2.
Yeah.
I mean, just like the quarterback at Florida, Richardson, who's in the NFL now. He wasn't really a good thrower,
right?
But he had so many tangibles that you couldn't, they couldn't help but put him on, get him to the NFL.
Right, 100%. Yeah.
But Connor again, he's old school dad. I just got to get that throwing down. I've got to work on that, and that's fine. You're doing that. I just want you, do a little extra.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, and I apologize for this, and I apologize to everybody that's in there. I literally, like I said, everything was just thrown all out of whack with some technical difficulties, and I have like a couple of minutes left before this thing dies on me, sir. And like I said, I would love to have you back, Mr. Marvin. I would love to have you back. I'd love to just sit down and have a cup of coffee with you, man. I mean, you've made my night. I know that so many people here are so appreciative of you taking the time. And
yes, sir.
So let me ask you this. Go ahead, sir.
You need to hear this, and that's why I was glad to speak it. Because like you said, y'all, everybody out as fans, you have beliefs, but you just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I can help, make it a little bit more clear, then hey, why not?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So let me ask you this. And like I said, I would love to talk to you again, Mr. Harrell. In closing, for the guys that are in here, this is a question that I know a lot of us are curious about coming up to Saturday, because a lot of us have very high hopes. We have we know that Connor is an athlete. We've seen what he's capable of doing, and he's got Carolina's got a really good roster around him still. There's a lot of talent around him, and we're really anxious to see. There's a lot of people that obviously, I would say 65-70% of Tar Heel Nation was like infuriated that Connor was not given the QB1 spot. But what do you think, in closing, for right now, what do you think makes Connor a difference maker? This is a question from Dennis, huge Carolina fan. What makes Connor a difference maker? How is he going to, really invigorate this North Carolina offense?
Well, again, Connor's never shied away from a challenge, and his approach to, I remember him as a pitcher. His focus when he got on that mound, and when the ball went in error, he'd get back on the mound and back at it again. And so, as a coming out of high school as a 4.5 GPA, and now I think he's at UNC at a 3.1, 4.2. He's a smart kid,
mm-hmm.
and the way that he approaches things, he's more of an analytical one, right? It's not about emotions. It's if I make a mistake or this, that, or the other, I'm tearing myself up.
Right.
It's the next play. So I just think it's going to be about leadership, and when he gets out in the field, and now it's really up to how they decide on how that they're going to use him.
Right.
And so with how they decide how they're going to use him, he'll do what Connor always does, and give 110% and to try and make that outcome that he wants and expects, the same as his coaches, the same as the fans, the same as his teammates. He's gonna give that what everybody else would expect him to give.
Yes, sir.
He's gonna be a great leader. He's gonna go at it and tackle it and tackle it until he gets it right. And I'll say, yeah, he has to understand, and we all have to understand, just like Aaron Rodgers and who was I forget New England
Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
Yeah.
They understood how good they were, but their complaints towards the end of their time at those programs was, I need people around me. I am great, right? I know I'm good, but I need that help around me, and
right.
They didn't do it, and so they ended up leaving.
Right.
So and kind of being able to process that and understand, hey, listen, if I can't depend on this, that, and the other, then I've got to process and see how the defense is reacting, and I've got to make a decision on how I'm going to attack that defense so that we get the best outcome that we can get.
Right. Right.
So just using all the tools that God has given him,
yeah,
to be the best and be that QB1 that everybody knows he can be.
Right. And that's what we just, we're really hoping that Coach Lindsey and Coach Mac Brown put him in positions to win, and utilize those intangibles that, like you said, and Mac has said it in press conferences, you can't teach 4 or 5. I was having this conversation with a friend, a couple of days ago. There's football players and there are athletes. And, you got something real special when you got a football player who is an athlete, like we all think that Connor is. And, you can work on it till you're blue in the face, but some people have it and you just can't teach 4-5, 4-4, And I'm really, really hoping that, obviously they put Connor in the best positions for him to be successful, for obviously UNC to be successful. And I tell you what, man, I am pulling for him hard, not just as a fan, but as I sit here and talk to you, Mr. Harrell. I mean, I can't help but just, love him through you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm pulling for your son hard, man. And I know that Tar Heel Nation is. And, like I said, I don't have much more time, but I just wanted to thank you so much. It is truly an honor, and I don't say that lightly, sir. It's an honor to speak to you, and I'm humbled.
Thank you.
I'm humbled.
I appreciate you reaching out to me as well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And so I think I can speak for all of Tar Heel Nation where I say, that we're pulling for Connor, man. We're hoping that, he's we're praying for his health. We're praying for his success, and just. It couldn't happen to a better kid, and I know that. I know that even more so than I knew it. How great of a kid he was, and we're pulling for him hard, Mr. Harrell, and I can't wait for Saturday where he's going to get the opportunity to finally, be able to show his talents. So, I will definitely stay in touch with you, and I hope.
I don't know if you have my number, but I can give you that too later on.
What's that, sir?
Yeah, I don't know if you have my number, but I can text that. I can get that to you.
Yeah, I would love it. I'd be honored, Mr. Harrell. I really would. Yeah. And and I'd love to reach out to you every now. Anytime you need anything, or you hit me up. My phone is always open. My phone is always open. So let me say this real quick before we get out of here. If you'd like to. Usually this is a call-in. This is the second one we've done. It's a score prediction show. So if you'd like, and if you win, then I'll send it to you. I have no problems with doing that at all. But usually we have a bunch of guys call in and predict the score. So if you'd like, Mr. Harrell, What do you see happening this Saturday? Is that on the spot too much?
Yeah, I don't know if I want to say anything.
I got you.
We're gonna win this game. How about that?
Okay, I like it. As long as we win, I like it, sir. I like it. I like it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, hey, I hope you have a wonderful night, sir. I know you're an hour behind me, and like I said, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your time, and you've been extremely gracious to me, and I look forward to talking to you in the future, Mr. Harrell.
And same here. I appreciate you. Appreciate everybody that's listening. And hey, go Heels.
Go Heels, baby. All right, sir. I hope you have a wonderful night.
You too.
All right, Mr. Harrell. All right, bye. Man, what a guy. What a guy. I mean, what a man. What a, you see where Connor gets it from. You see where Connor gets it from. You cannot help Preston 100%, man. Dennis, I'm flabbergasted, man. I mean, I truly, I kind of got chills, just because you can tell, speaking to a good, wise individual, with a great background, you can't help but pull for his son, man. Gosh, man, you can't help but pull for Connor. Great kid, comes from an amazing family. You can tell. You can just tell. And so we didn't get to get into the score prediction. I tell you what I'm going to do, because my stuff is about to die, and I'm going to fix this. I know I say that every stinking week, but if you can, go ahead and put your score prediction in. We won't do a call-in portion. I'll give you about 5 minutes. I appreciate it, Dennis. That was above me, man. Like I said, I was coming home from work, just to give you guys a brief breakdown. I'm coming home from work because I had posted on Instagram that we were going to do the call-in show tonight. And so Mr. Harrell was the first one to like it. And I thought, oh, that's interesting, and so I'm going through my day, like 4 or 5 hours later, I'm driving home, and it just dawned. I said, you know what, man, I'm going to reach out to Mr. Harrell and see if he'd be interested in coming and talking to us about his son. And he messaged me back like 3 or 4 minutes later. And it's funny because on my phone, you get the first part, and I thought to myself, there's no way he's going to want to talk to me, et cetera, et cetera. And it said something along the lines of, hey, Russ, I appreciate it. But then he said, hey, I would love to come on and talk to you. And I was like, it took me aback, because you guys know that I've never done anything like that before. And here I am, it's the father of Connor Harrell. And so I'm scrambling, trying to get everything done. I'm bugging the crap out of my wife. We're trying to get everything fixed and finished. And then it comes time for the show, and everything falls apart. And I'm like stressing, and I'm like, oh my goodness, man, I have an opportunity to talk to, Mr. Harrell, and I'm not going to be able to make this happen. And so I hurried up and threw this thing together, and he was kind enough and gracious enough to give us an hour of his time, man. So, wow, thoroughly impressed, man. And it makes me that much more excited to pull for Connor, man. I got to find out how to get a Connor Harrell jersey. He must have really liked your Norm skit. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Preston. What's up, man? Come here. Oh, little Russ wants to get in here real quick. He's got his Cedric Gray shirt on. He's been bugging me, man. So what an awesome interview. I'll definitely put it out there. We only had 15 people in here. I didn't have enough time to let everybody know who was going to be actually coming and hanging out with us. But I hope that was as good for you guys as it was for me. Man, that was good for my soul. When you talk to a good person and you have a good long conversation with a man, it does something to your soul, man. And I feel good about this Saturday. Preston wants to know what your score is. What's your score prediction?
It's going to be be 41 to 13.
41 to 13. All right, I'm gonna put it on here so that we got it. Little Russ.
41 to
Oh, he's changing it. What is it?
It's gonna be 41 to 10.
41 to 10. Is that it?
Yes.
We're about to lock it in.
41 to 14.
40. All right, change it. All right, 41 to 14. All right, it's locked in. All right, there it is. It's done. Little Russ with the 41 to 14. So we got just for all transparency. Seems like an awesome guy, Scott, for 100%, man. Shadow 45 to 7, Carolina. Preston 56 to 7, Carolina. 38 to 7, Scott, Carolina. Darrell 35 to 7, or it's Daryl. I'm sorry, man. Which one is it, brother? Mr. Davidson 35 to 7, Carolina. Dennis 38 to 9, Carolina. And you already know, man, I said 38 to 13, Carolina, man. And gosh, man, 38 to 13 is not a good one.
Because like you would have to get 7 points and then 6.
Yeah, 2 field goals.
Kind of hard.
Listen at him, man. He's trying to talk me out of my stinking score, man. Nick's got Carolina 28 to 7. As I hate to say it, just wait until the word gets out. Well, I'm definitely going to. I'm definitely going to put that out there right now as soon as we get off of here, man. And like I said, I hope that was as good for you guys as it was for me, man. That was awesome. What an awesome man. What an awesome family. And I, for sure, I'm trying to rock the Connor Harrell jersey for the rest of the stinking year, man. I don't care. I don't stinking care. That kid's got my stinking vote for president, man. Good night. So anyway, what an outstanding interview. Went somewhere completely different. I appreciate you guys hanging out, man. I know IC is doing the game plan and everything right now. We still got 12 people in here. I think he got up to 15. But no, we got it all locked in right here, son. But I'll let you guys get out of here because I know that everybody wants to go over to IC and watch the game plan. I'm not trying to stink and step on their toes. But hey, I love you guys, man. And like I said, I can't promise that all the time. But it's just one of those things that happened, bro. And it was great. It was great. It was good for me. I hope it was good for you. And I can't wait until this stinking Saturday. So, hey, make sure, like I said, 3:30, I'm going to be coming in hot. I had to take the last hour off. Take the last hour off, man, of work. So I'm going to be coming in hot. I might still be in work clothes. I don't stinking know. But you guys come and hang out with me as we watch stinking Connor hold it down. I know a lot of you guys are going to be at the game. So, but we'll watch Charlotte and North Carolina, and we'll have a good time as Tar Heel Nation, man. And we'll pull for that kid because how could you not after that? So anyway, I love you guys. I appreciate everybody hanging out, man. And we will catch you on the next one, baby. Go Heels.